What's going on, everybody? Welcome to another episode of D313Rapaport, episode 13. This is your host, DC1. We got my guy, Bree, right here. Miss J will be joining us shortly. And we got our special guest there. Used to work for Fox Sports Detroit. He's everybody, a lot of people know who we are. You see, watch him as Pistons and Tigers, Wings, in the Fox Sports Detroit area, used to be part of Detroit sports world. Our special guest is the TV anchor for WABC-TV in New York, Ryan Fields. Welcome to the show. Thank you very much, man.
Hey, happy to be here, fellas. What's going on? And happy birthday to the Motor City today. 313
yes,
in the D. Love it.
Yes, sir.
Thank you. Sir. Happy birthday to the city of Detroit. 322nd birthday.
Well, it's a pleasure to be on and talk about a city that the sports teams that are obviously near and dear to my heart, even all these years later. I've been gone 10 years now from Detroit, and a lot of good memories there that were made, and I miss it every day. There's no doubt about that.
No doubt. Absolutely, man. We miss you. I said we miss you as well, man. And we're just glad to have you on the show, man. I know you're doing great things out there in New York. We're just glad to have you, man. We're just glad to have you. So let's get into it. Get the show started. We got a short show today. So Mr. Ryan, we're gonna start off with you. Just go ahead and introduce yourself for those who don't know who you are, or some people don't remember who you are. Go ahead and let you take the floor on that, sir.
You know what, guys? We might want to start this again because there's no S on my last name down here.
Okay, yep. We get that taken care of for you.
Yeah, it's all good.
Go ahead. We'll let you go ahead and get the show. Let you take on.
All right. Yeah, let's go ahead and do it.
Yeah,
and I was in Detroit since the year 2000, working 2000 to 2013, and it was the best time of my career, man. And the best part about it was just covering all the teams that I grew up watching as a kid. I mean, the same way you guys are enjoying watching all the teams and having gone to Michigan State and having doing all the things. It was a lot of memories that were made, and especially getting a chance to cover the Pistons and Tigers in particular. My 10 years at Fox Sports Detroit, it was really, really cool.
Man, absolutely. Yes, sir, man. It's definitely glad to have you on, man.
Yeah,
definitely,
listen,
man.
I thought we were on tape, guys. My fault. I didn't realize we were live to the people. So
we're definitely.
It's okay.
Right.
Here we go.
Yeah, we're definitely live, man. We're definitely live, man. So,
yes, sir.
Man. So let's get into it. Let's talk about some Detroit Lions right quick. Should we go ahead and talk about some Detroit Lions?
Yeah, I mean, listen, it's one of those things where I'm a little older than you guys. I can feel comfortable saying that. And, they've won one playoff game since 1957. And the fact that now all of a sudden they have all this hype surrounding the team is pretty incredible, given the fact that they still missed the playoffs last year. They only finished 9-8, and they're the media darlings, and people are even picking them to win the NFC. So it's almost like you want to be a little be a little aware here, or be a little cautious of all this optimism that's coming their way. But I mean, even with CJ today, who got carted off the field, I feel like under typical Lions luck, he would be out for the season and maybe into the season after that. But today the MRI comes back clean, and it looks like he's going to be all right. And maybe that's just another sign today that things are finally starting to turn around for the Lions after so many years of things not going their way. And, we have the Jets and Giants here in town, which a lot of people are obviously excited about. But I'm always keeping track and keeping tabs on the Honolulu Blue, and I think they're going to have a good season. And I think the NFL does too, which is why they put them opening night against Kansas City right out of the chute. I mean, that's a huge primetime game, and I think they're going to come out and play well in that game. I don't know if they're going to win, but I think they're going to give Kansas City a heck of a run for their money, and we'll see how things shape up. But, man, if they win that game, guys, you think the hype is big right now. If they go into Kansas City on opening night and beat the Super Bowl champs, that's going to be something else. And it will be bedlam in Detroit when they play the Seahawks the following week at Ford Field. That's going to be nuts.
Absolutely, man.
Yep.
It just think we just we want the Lions fans. You want the energy that we want to embrace that this season is gonna be good for us. And I've seen a lot of Lions fans, all the posts on social media and stuff that the Lions should be the NFC should be the NFC favorites. They should some of them be saying it's the Super Bowl favorites. To the Lions fans, let's pump the brakes for a second. Let's pump the brakes. We haven't got it. Let's get through this training camp. Let's get through this preseason, the regular season first. Remember, we haven't won a division title in 30 years. So let's take it a game by game at a time. And like you said, Ryan, he's talking about playing the Lions playing against the Kansas City Chiefs on opening night. If they win that game, that's a momentum starter right there. And you're going home playing against another a playoff team like Seattle, which there's some expectations they probably may be back in the playoffs. We'll see how Geno does. There's gonna be a lot of talk say, hey, we beat the Super Bowl champs. Now we feel like we could go out there and carry that momentum. But I just want Lions fans to understand that let's, pump the brakes. Let's take it a game at a time. We did not make the playoffs last year. We finished the season strong, but that 1-6 start, it kind of, put us somewhat in a little bad position. Then we had to win these eight of our last 10 games, hopefully trying to get in the playoff, in which it didn't happen. So now we got the momentum to carry over. But I just want Lions fans just take it down a notch, even with Dan Campbell saying in his press conference. And
that's the thing. And then don't forget, they went into Green Bay. They basically ended Aaron Rodgers' tenure with the Packers. So that was a whole nother element to this. And that was also a national TV game. As you guys recall, it got flexed to Sunday night. They came out, a couple of trick plays, played really well in tough conditions at Lambeau in late December. So it's one of those things where January, whenever it was, it's one of those things where, they won 8 out of 10, but also to your point, they haven't won anything. And I think that was kind of echoed yesterday at camp and reading the comments from Campbell and Aiden Hutchinson and some of those guys that, listen, the hype doesn't get you anywhere, except if you start believing in it, then you're in a lot of trouble because you got to back it up. And I think they're smart enough and they've got enough veteran leadership on that team to not fall into that trap. But yeah, and you like to see them come out and play well against the Chiefs on Thursday night, and then we'll go from there.
Absolutely. Nomis, man, what's going on with you, man? Thank you for coming through, man.
Hey, what's up, fellas? How you doing, sir? How you doing?
Welcome to the show.
Thank you. Welcome. Thank you for being here, sir.
Absolutely, man. Absolutely.
Yes,
So Nomis, we were just talking about the Detroit Lions. Just talk about the expectations. How I was just saying, as far as Lions, some of the Lions fans need to pump the brakes, of the expectations as far as, we be the NFC favorites and, Super Bowl favorites and all that. And Ryan was also discussing, about this be a huge momentum, especially if we go to Kansas City and win that game in Kansas City and go into at home and against Seattle. That momentum is going to carry. So we were just going to talk about that and then talking about just a little update with the CJ Gardner-Johnson, which good news that, is he's going to be listed day to day. He's listed day to day. So it's nothing serious. So it's like, I'll let you go ahead and get your little input in, sir.
All right. So basically it's like this. The Lions literally have to treat every team this moving forward as Kansas City. Every team is pretty much Kansas City because, the hype is getting a little too out there. But for the Lions to really earn that hype, they have to start with Kansas City. You cannot start off taking a loss and then try and make it with Seattle. That game is too much of a, you don't know what to expect out of that type of game. We struggled beating them. As you can see, our defense took a beating last year. We gave one back out, but we couldn't finish. To me, I feel like if you want to make a statement, you got to start off with the Chiefs. They are the champions. They played the longest schedule, technically, right? So with the Lions having that time to prep, they have to get this team right. With the fans, however, I understand why you say Tony Dungy, because there were a lot of things they did do wrong last year, and I'm not even just talking about the 1-6 stretch. They do have a lot more to prove. You know what I'm saying? We've been in this position before where we go to have a surprising season where they make the postseason as the final wild card or not. They gave us something to be happy for going into next year. The problem is, can they capitalize on it? That's the part where I'm not fully transitioned yet. I'm calling this the brand new Lions, because the situation is the Lions in the past have never been able to capitalize. This is the closest chance they may have. So I think we need to be watching them a little bit more and viewing what they're doing and paying attention to anything else that they're saying, because this team is still young. You know, they just had a draft where they pretty much refreshed and hit the reset button on their offense, which I actually think was pretty clever now, more lines when I sit and think about it, because what that does is eliminate a lot of film. You only have an idea how the players are going to get used based off the guys you had before, but there's no film technically under Jahmyr Gibbs. There's no film on this team as far as David Montgomery. There's no film on Sam Laporta. There's no film on Mims, because he has barely played over the last few weeks. You know what I'm saying? So that element of surprise can help, but the Lions have to do everything right in training camp and moving forward. The hype is they deserve to have some hype. They do. But I think overboard, I think they need to tone it down. So like I said, they have to learn. You have to act as if you've done it before. I said this like a year ago on the last stream I did. I said, you have to act like you had success. You got to get used to winning. You can't be so hyped over where, that all you think about is last year. Last year was last year. This is new year. Everything as far as I'm concerned what happened last season is irrelevant. You only have the same players again that you had last year. So this is a whole new team. You have to get with the times and you have to restart over. Just like they're restarting everything over, you as a fan base have to do the same thing. And I believe that Dan Campbell, from what I heard in press conferences, he's been very vocal about what they need to do. Last year, you saw in the press conferences, they would tell us everything that they were going to do to try to get the win. And I swear, when I watched the games, I saw that exact thing he was saying. And because 9 times out of 10 came out that way. And I think they're going to continue to build on the fundamentals that they set. So I think we just need to be a little bit patient. There's nothing wrong with watering down the Kool-Aid a little bit. That's the word we always use as Lions fans, right? Watering down your Kool-Aid. Because, it's not fun drinking up all your sweets and stuff now. Then when it's actually time to drink the sweets, you don't have any. All other kids are drinking, right? So that's what Lions fans need to kind of do. Let the team take their time and get this thing in the offseason move. Don't rush it and just keep seeing what happens next. And thank God for C.J. Gardner-Johnson. Because I woke up today, I saw that news. I could have had a heart attack because we just got him. And I said, it's been like that all offseason so far. There's several players that have been missing practice already. They haven't even had it on yet. And that's kind of scaring me because, it's been kind of like that the last couple of years. Ever since that whole C word came out, he's been a little bit scary. So hopefully, glad to hear that he's okay. But yeah, man, we want to go in the season healthy because that was a big issue last year. We missing a lot of guys. DJ Shark couldn't stay healthy. Josh Reynolds is in and out. So your receiver that you did have, they were hurt. On the route went out with an injury. You don't want to keep having it. Health is more important than anything else right now.
Absolutely. Bree?
Yeah, that's what happens when you play a physical sport, man. I mean, sometimes, you're going to have injuries. So it happens not only just with the Lions, but with every team. So it just comes with the territory. But I'm the same way. The fans got to pump the brakes, and they already counting them all out. I'm hearing people talk about, now the Bears is going to win the division. I'm like, come on. Don't no. No. But no. So just let this team grow and let them just play. Now, the Kansas City game is going to be a measuring stick of the whole season. Even if they lose, if they could compete and keep the game close, then that can help also. That can give you still momentum for Seattle. So and then also too with Kansas City, they got a new offensive coordinator. So they got to learn a new offense also. So they're going to be learning something new. So this is the best time to get them while they're learning from a new offensive coordinator, in my opinion. But to me, I think they could go to Kansas City and win. I really do. Yeah. I think they can win this. Yeah. So spoil, go out there and spoil their championship rings. So that would just be the icing on the cake to me. So
absolutely.
I would love that.
Absolutely. Yeah, absolutely. Ryan, you got any other thoughts about the Detroit Lions?
No, I think you guys really touched on all of it. I mean, and I agree with him. I think they can go in and win that game in Kansas City. It's a touchdown spread. But listen, first game of the season is probably the best time to face the Chiefs. So if they come in and be ready, if they're coming in ready to go and the offense is firing and they can cause a few turnovers, I don't think there's any reason why they can't win that game. And as I said earlier, they do win that game. The hype train's going to be going off the rails, boys. We're going to have to run back this podcast again and talk all about it.
Oh, yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Definitely. Yeah, so.
And I got to say this too. Please have trust in Jared Goff, please.
Yes.
Just saying, let's trust in Goff.
Absolutely. Let's trust in Goff, man. So, yep. So we're very excited for this Detroit Lions team. We all want our guys to be healthy. You have a successful season. Let's take it a game at a time. That's the important thing. Is take it a game at a time. Let's not. We just want to win, want to succeed. So that's what we want best for our team. We want what's best for them. So, so let's go ahead and move on along. I think we should go ahead and talk about. Should we talk about some Detroit Pistons right quick?
I think we should.
Yeah, we should talk to a little Detroit Pistons. Mr. Field, do you mind we talk a little Detroit Pistons right quick?
I'm always happy to talk about those guys.
Yes.
All right, let's get into it, man. So, as Pistons, we got a new head coach, Monty Williams. As you know, they got acquisitions of Monte Morris and Joe Harris, and then the rookies we just drafted, Sarah Thompson and Marcus Sasser. So, Ryan, how do you feel about this Detroit Pistons team? And just.
Yeah, I mean, listen, I thought Osar Thompson showed out really well in Vegas, especially those last couple of games when he had a chance to really have the ball in his hands a lot more. I mean, his athleticism jumps off at you, his ability to create. I mean, I think we saw his vision on some of those passes he was making. I mean, who doesn't love? When's the last time we saw a Detroit Piston throw down a reverse dunk alley-oop? Maybe Grant Hill would be the last time we saw that happen. Mm-hmm. And I think he's going to bring an element that this team has sorely lacked, which is why that Troy drafted him at number 5. I mean, Sasser dropped a 40-piece, so we know what he's capable of, kind of instant offense off the bench. Maybe he's Vinnie Johnson 2.0. And I still think there's going to be another trade coming. I mean, I like the Joe Harris move, and I like the Monte Morris move a lot, given what they gave up to get those guys. Monte Morris is going to be a huge player for this team because he upgrades the backup point guard position considerably, considering where they were. Is there a trade where Killian and or Marvin Bagley? I mean, everybody's so quick to get Bojan Bogdanovic out of here. I don't understand what the rush is with that. Guy's a really good player and probably going to be our best shooter. So why everybody's so quick to want to trade him out of town? We can only keep recycling veterans for draft picks and young players. I mean, you got to have some guys on here that know what they're doing and have been in the league and can certainly put up some points. And Bogdanovic qualifies as all those. So I think it would behoove them to hang on to him. If they got to part with a Bagley or a Weissman and a Killian, then so be it. Hindsight's always 20/20, but I was really bummed when we didn't draft Halliburton in that draft, and everybody was like, well, we feel like he reached his ceiling, where Killian was more draft on potential. But you already knew what Halliburton was. Halliburton was a really good player. He had shown that in college and won all the awards and, played well on the big stage. And, now he's blossomed into this great player. And, frankly, I think the Pistons messed up by passing on him. But you ended up with Killian, who just frankly hasn't been able to put it all together. Yes, he's still very young, but I think a change of scenery might do him some good, I should say. And we'll see what happens. But can this team compete for the play-in position? Yeah, I mean, much like the Lions, it depends on health. I mean, if they stay healthy and Cade is the player we all think he can be, I don't see any reason why they can't compete for the play-in spot. But it's just frustrating that last season happened the way that it did because, last season ended up being a transition year because Cade got hurt, where they were supposed to play for the play-in position last year, and then this year they were going to be really gunning for a top 8 seed. So now you feel like you're a year behind with the progress, unfortunately, because of Cade's injury. But listen, there's worse positions to be in. I like the roster. They have a lot of financial flexibility going forward, which is important, especially, with, the big free agent class coming up the following summer. So I think they put themselves in a position to be very successful in the future and hopefully make a little noise here this season as well.
Absolutely, man. Nomis?
Okay. Listen, man, like I said, we all respect what the Pistons have been doing in the offseason. I think nobody disputes that. As far as Killian goes, y'all know where I stand with him. He's, to me, not the guy I feel like should be kicked off the team or traded away because I feel like overall you get more. For me, I'm not a guy, and they'll tell you that. They look at his percentages and stats because to me they don't tell the whole story. This team has statistically been the worst defensive team for quite a while, more than just a year. And I feel like, honestly, this team cannot afford to lose defensive players, but they do need veterans too. I do smell a trade coming later on in the offseason. Kind of how we did. We got Boyan last year. It was kind of like a late offseason kind of move after camp and stuff like that. So I do see that coming. We were pretty quiet and know exactly when to strike. For me, I feel like, with the additional free agents, or I should say trade pieces that we added to the roster, I know Harris can kind of have a chance to come back and find himself again. And, Monte Morris, I think, will be a good backup point guard. As far as that goes, a veteran in the locker room for them. I think he'll be able to play some quality minutes for you and just kind of help keep things together. I feel like, personally, Killian and, some of the other young guys, Livers, they still have a lot to offer. I think they're just real early in their career, especially with Killian. He was drafted literally as a project for this team. A lot of people, get upset, too, about the Tyrese Halliburton thing. The thing about it is a lot of people actually didn't want him, because they thought that his jump shot was kind of weird. They felt like he was kind of a boring player. They feel like he just wasn't as good as certain other guys that were in that top 10. Then so it's kind of like the same thing in football with quarterback for the Chargers, Justin Herbert. It was kind of the same thing with him. A lot of people felt weird about him. And then all of a sudden, now everybody's like, oh, you should have got Justin Herbert. It's just one of those type of things. But I think Killian will get better. He's been putting the work in. I think he's going to make a case of why he shouldn't be traded. I think he's going to get better. I see that happening, actually. So, like I say, he's 21 years old. And, coming from overseas, playing French league, that takes a minute. I'm saying? You have to have the patience to let players like that develop. I'm saying? Not saying he's going to be Giannis, but that could have been Giannis, too. So the team could have gave up on him. So now he, is an NBA champion, former multiple-time MVP. So not saying that's Killian's fate, but I believe he could be one of those facilitating guards that can get you some buckets here and there and be like an elite defender for you in the future. And I think that's what this team is going to need. But as far as what Troy Weaver's done, I think he's done a good job acquiring a young talent and getting this team built in the right direction. He's emphasizing defense. Every player that he's been looking at the draft, he's been one guy who can offer that defensive ability. He just added a guard and Sasser as well, who plays good defense. On top of, as we know, with Thompson, the comparison with Thompson to Andre Iguodala. That was the person he specified his game to. And you can actually see a little bit of it. I just think it's about player development at this point. I believe that, obviously Monty Williams, is a good coach. But at the same time, it's going to take his time to get his influence on the team. And, it's a real young roster just extending Isaiah Stewart. He's the first draft pick by Weaver to get that extension. So that's just where they are right now. It's about developing the talent and trying to get this team to win as many games as they could possibly win, and get the culture continue to build for kind of like how it was with the Lions last year, bringing everybody back, and let's see what we could do moving forward and develop the players, and then we'll see afterwards.
Absolutely. Bree?
Yeah, I'm excited for this team. And even, with Killian, I hope he does stay on the team because, like I said, he's a young guy. He's only 21 years old. So it takes a lot. Sometimes it takes a lot for an international player to get used to being in the NBA. So it could take some years. I mean, just like, y'all brought up, with Giannis. It took him a while to get things. You know what I'm saying? It took Jokic. It takes a while for international players to get used to the game. And I think with him being young, and he's had injury issues too. So he hasn't really played a full season yet. So if he could just stay healthy, and he's a good defender. So he just has to, once his game picks up, he's going to be all right. Now, if he happens to go somewhere else, maybe he does need to change the scenery. I hope he doesn't. But, either way, he's gonna figure things out. I think he does have to work on his shooting and everything, and his confidence. But it should get better. But this whole team, with the rookies, I like Asar Thompson. I like Marcus Sasser. Marcus Sasser has a mix between like a Eric Bledsoe mixed with a Drew Holiday kind of player to me. Mm-hmm. So, and then we're picking up Monte Morris and Joe Harris. That kind of, even though we have a lot of guards, we got about 7-8 guards. So it's going to be hard to have them all on that team. Maybe somebody does have to go. I don't know who. I hope none of them go. I wish we could keep our whole squad. But if someone has to go, someone has to go. But with this team, it should be interesting. We should compete for at least playing, I would say, maybe as high as maybe a 6th seed in the East. But I'm still optimistic, and this team can, if healthy, they can do some things. And with us having a new coach, a proven coach that doesn't mind coaching these young guys and coaching them to their full potential, and guys like Duran and Stewart having a big contract or another contract now, and a 100% K Cunningham. I mean, normally last year majority of the team was injured, so to have these guys back and fully healed, and then sign back Alec Burks and everybody. It's going to be interesting to see how this team is, man. I'm excited about it. Hopefully they can stay healthy and buy into Monty's system. And, with the assistant coaches, with, Jared Jack and everybody, it should help this team. And they should, and it just shows just by his press conference how much these players really care about Monty Williams. So he already has the respect for his players. So, but I'm excited about this team, and I can't wait for the season to start.
Absolutely, man. So, before I know Ryan's gonna be getting out of here shortly, so I want to switch over the topic right quick. Talk about some Detroit Tigers right quick. Just want to talk a little Detroit Tigers. Yes, today the Detroit Tigers won 5-1 against. It was a makeup game back in April the 16th against the San Francisco Giants. So it's just a quick intake. Ryan, it was, how do you feel, about the Detroit Tigers and for the direction of Scott Harris has put them in? How you feel about the Tigers?
Yeah, I mean, listen, the minor league system already looks better. All these good draft picks that they've made, or top draft picks, I should say, are starting to be promoted and moving their way up through the ranks. And you already have Riley Green and Spencer Torkelson. And, let's be honest, I think the team this year is better than most people thought it was going to be. They had gotten, I think, to within one game of 500 before Riley Green got hurt. And Eduardo Rodriguez got hurt. They both got hurt at the same time, right as they were really kind of coming into their own. So who knows where this season might be right now if those two didn't miss several weeks due to injury. Maybe the Tigers are right there battling the Twins for first, and then we're having a whole different conversation. But I think even if they trade away Lorenzen and Eduardo Rodriguez, maybe Alex Lang, these guys whose contracts are up or about to be up, and get some good prospects back in return, I think they have a nice nucleus and foundation, especially with these guys that are down on the farm getting ready to come up, that I think they can compete next season for the division. I mean, who are you afraid of in that division? I mean, even this year, I'm not afraid of Cleveland or Minnesota or Chicago. I mean, there's no reason to think that they can't come in there next year and make some noise. So I like the Scott Harris addition. I like what he's brought to the team and just the whole mindset of the organization, and, brought in some new scouts and some new directors of player development. And I think overall the organization is in a very healthy place. And, it's crazy to think it's been 10 years since they've been in the postseason. I think it's been 10 years, but it's been a long time. And, we need to get back. We need to get the Tigers back to playing October baseball. And I think they'll be back in that position here real soon.
Absolutely. And I agree with exactly what you're saying. I mean, if you literally look at this division right now, this division is horrible. I mean, Minnesota, they've been up and down all year. Cleveland's been up and down. And like you said, brought it up, we was right there about to take over for that division until our key players got hurt. And that's when things started went down south for this Tigers team. And I believe the guys started coming back getting healthy. You see Riley Green, he came back. He started looking like the Riley Green that he should look like. He's been hitting the ball, especially at home. Spencer Torkelson, he's been looking pretty good as of late. Javi Baez has his moments, has his little hot streak up and down. Yes. But Miguel Cabrera, he's just 39, 40 years old. I mean, you're not going to expect much out of Cabrera at this stage of his career. You're going to expect him to get some hits. He might get a couple of home runs, but I mean, this Tigers team is pretty much right. It's getting right there in this right direction. The way that how they starting, with Scott Harris, coming in and retooling this team, and I like this the direction this Tigers is going. I just wish they just be more consistent of scoring runs. Their bullpen is pretty good. Their pitching is getting a lot better, getting healthy. So I'm really excited for this Tigers team. Even somehow they don't make the playoffs or win the division this year, which is still up in the air because the way how this division is. Even if they don't, they still got a promising future going into next season. So AJ Hinch is a good manager. I don't care what anybody says. He shows he's a good manager. We just need the time. He just need guys to be healthy. And that's what it comes down to. AJ Hinch shows he's a good manager. I believe in this Tigers team. So, that's how I feel about it.
Yes, sir.
Yeah,
yes,
that's how I feel about it. So, Ryan, I know you have to get out of here.
Well, listen, man, I just don't understand why we haven't talked about the school that you're wearing so proudly on your head and in the background. Those Spartans of Michigan State. I always have time to stick around for another minute or two to talk about that.
Yes, we got to
go green, go white.
Go white tonight.
Yes, sir.
So, speaking, let's go ahead and let's talk Michigan State right quick. So, how you feel about this football team going for this season?
Well, listen, I think the benefit that they have is that not a lot of people are expecting a lot from them. What we've seen from Noah Kim, even in the spring game and in the games he got in last year, I thought to myself, I'm like, this kid throws a nice ball. And clearly the coaching staff thought enough of him that they made it an open competition. And I think we can all agree that Peyton Thorne is not transferring out of Michigan State if he knew he was going to win the job. So clearly he knew he wasn't going to win it, or at least it was going to go down to the wire. He took a surefire job at Auburn. Can't blame him for that. I think this is going to be a transition year. And I think that, they can win 7 games, go to a bowl game, a decent bowl game, and then, you have another good recruiting class come in and then really take another step forward the following year. And what makes these last couple of years look even worse is the fact that Michigan has been so good these last couple of years. But people forget that it was just in the COVID year, 2020, that Jim Harbaugh won 2 games and everybody wanted him out of town. So they've had 2 good years these last 2 years. What's in store for 23, we'll see. But I think, Tucker's going to need a couple years to really kind of get his footing in terms of getting all of his recruits in here. And I think we've seen from these last couple years the pitfalls of the last couple years of the D'Antonio administration and how they didn't recruit very well in his last 3 or 4 years. And you're kind of seeing that now with the talent level, that they just don't have the guys necessary to compete. But I do think they have enough of a talent base to win 6 or 7 games this year, make a bowl game. They should have went to a bowl game last year, that abomination against, I think, Indiana, that game that they choked away that they should have won. So they should have won that game, should have went to a bowl. But, I think 6, 7 wins, 8 perfect case scenario, best case scenario, I should say, for Michigan State. And, hopefully we're talking about them really taking a big step forward the following year.
And now, before we gonna let you go, we're gonna win against that school in Ann Arbor, correct?
Oh, well, that goes without saying.
Yes.
Oh, okay.
They're coming up to the woodshed, and we don't wish that on anybody. So,
Yes, sir.
I try to tell people when was the last time that team in Ann Arbor went up to the woodshed? What happened? I try to tell these Michigan fans that they don't want to.
And you know what? I don't know if you guys were there, but I was at that game, and obviously I'm happy because Michigan State won. But no matter what the outcome was, that was one of the best games I'd ever seen live and in person. That was just fantastic football, great theater, so many swings in that game, momentum swings. I mean, it was a heavyweight fight. Plus, it was kind of like a gray, misty day, like Big Ten football. It was an awesome day to be at Spartan Stadium, and I'm so happy I was there for it. And I'm hoping to get up there this fall for that game, and maybe I can see you guys at a tailgate and we can talk more about it.
Yes, sir.
Go ahead, no, right quick.
So what if you had to get like a way too early guess? What would you say right now, hands down, is the most improved position on Spartan's team?
The most improved position? Well, I think it starts with health. I mean, when they lost Darius Snow last year in that first game, he was the quarterback of the defense, and it all went downhill after that. And I think you heard Tucker talk about this, and I don't think anybody knew it was that bad. They couldn't even practice late in the season because they didn't have enough healthy offensive linemen. So I think right off the bat, I think they're healthier, which means the offensive line, I think, is going to be better. I think the linebacking core is going to be better with Darius Snow, which in turn is going to help the secondary. I think their D-line is still very good. And Noah Kim, it remains to be seen. I mean, it's a bummer that they lost the kid down to Florida State, the wide receiver, but at the same time, I think they got a deep enough wide receiver room that they can go in there and still be able to move the football and make some noise in the Big Ten. But again, I think the ceiling is 7-8 wins tops for this team. Absolutely.
Well, Mr. Ryan, I know you have to get out of here. Thank you for coming to our show today, man. We're glad to have you. You're more welcome to come to our show anytime. Man, it was a blessing. We're glad to see you, man. We definitely miss you. When you was here in Detroit, man, and the success out there in New York. Continue your success, man. We very appreciate it.
That means a lot, guys, and I can't thank you enough for inviting me to come on. And like I said, Detroit sports, Michigan State, they're always going to be near and dear to my heart, no matter where I end up in my career. And always happy to come back on and talk about those times and the current times. And listen, we as Detroit sports fans, we've certainly gone through it here the last decade or so with not a lot to get excited about. But the Lions have finally turned the corner. I think the Tigers are on the verge. I think the Pistons are definitely on the verge. So let's hope we have some better days ahead, and the Wings too. And I hope we have some better days ahead, because there's no fan base in the country that deserves things to turn around more than Detroit sports fans. And let's hope that's the case.
Absolutely.
Yes,
Absolutely.
Sir.
All right, guys, take care of yourself, and we'll talk to you again real soon.
Yes, sir. Yes,
Thank
sir.
you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Take care.
Yes, sir.
Absolutely.
Yes, sir.
Absolutely. So, man, any
Yes.
final thoughts, man, before we go on here and get out of here, man? Start with Bree.
Yeah, just well, first I want to say go green, go white.
Absolutely.
And then also I just want to give a special thanks to Ryan Field, man, for coming on, for taking time out of his busy schedule to come on, man. That's hey, man, I can't say enough. He's definitely welcome anytime. He got the green light. So basically, my thoughts is basically just as far as the Lions, man, people listen, man, y'all just like DC1 said, man, y'all gotta pump the brakes on this team. Let this team play. Let them be healthy, and just let them see what they can do against Kansas City, and let's just see how the season play out. I mean, we're gonna have injuries. I mean, it happens to everybody. That's why you get all these players to step up. So, offense, I think, is going to be fine. The defense is going to be good. I think the defense is going to be better than what people think. So, as long as they stay healthy, and please don't forget about them Cheez-Its. Please don't, especially the double flavors, courtesy by Screaming. But yeah, man, just as far as the Pistons, man, big upsides. Stuart Thompson, Marcus Sasser, glad to have them as rookies. Have the same with the Pistons, with the Lions. They got to stay healthy. Glad to have a healthy Cade Cunningham, man. I can't wait for the season. And and Ivy, it's gonna be a competition for sure in every position on that team. So I can't wait. I really can't wait. And as far as the Tigers, man, there's a lot of upswing with this team. We're lucky to be in a division that we are in. To only be down just 6 games already into the season. So, and this team is a lot better than what we think. I think as long as they can stay healthy as well, get good pitching, score some runs, they'll be all right. And AJ Hinch is a good manager, so we'll just see what happens in the second half of the season, and hopefully they can retire Miggy with style, hopefully, and go to the playoffs and send them off in the sunset. Until at least the playoffs. We can't win the World Series, at least into the playoffs. So that's my take on it.
Absolutely. Nomis?
Well, put it like this. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. I'm gonna make this as quick like I always do because I don't want people to think I take the longest. But anyway, I gotta say a big shout out to Ryan Fields, man, for coming on the show. Again, great to have another legend in the city on here, man, talking about sports with us, choosing us, and give us time to us, man. So, salute to him. Wish him the best in his future endeavors. So, that being said, obviously, Lions, y'all got to tone it down. That's pretty much been said. But one thing I will say is pay attention to all your sports teams during the press conference. Don't just hear what you want to hear. Actually listen to what they tell you. They're giving us more information about what's going on than y'all choosing when to listen. And that's what I will say for that. Now, Inside the Den will be coming on the 27th. For those who may not know, y'all should. Inside the Den will be there. So we'll be able to watch what's going on and obviously what happened during the draft process. That's what's going to be pre-current. If y'all want to hear a preview video about that, I made it a couple weeks ago. Y'all can go check it out on this channel here. Detroit Lions Inside the Den, what we should be expected. So, with that being said, much love to everybody in the chat. Thank you, Trap In, for coming in. Thank you, Owen. And of course, Big Willie and look like Big A join us as well, man. So salute to all the guys, man. Definitely keep in touch with us. Got more content coming, as y'all know. We just got a lot coming for y'all. Let's just believe that. However, we're going to announce right now there won't be at SP this week. You know, I got it's a lot of personal stuff going on, specifically with me. So it's a lot of stuff. Just keep your boy in prayers. That's all I ask you. You know, pray for all of us, man, because we all deal with things. To be honest with you. You know what I'm saying? We human just like anybody else. You know, we love our sports. And, you know what I'm saying? Just keep each other, hold each other, pray for each other. We pray for y'all. You know, pray for us, man. You know, the rest of the guys we rock with, man, because, you know, life is short. Life is really short. So, you know, love you, love us, as your boy King always tell y'all. You know, with that being said, anything else I can think of before I let Daryl get it? Like I said, man, I still got content coming. And, yeah, that's it, man. Just, salute to my brothers. Go blue, go yellow, go blue, and go green, go white.
Absolutely, man. So yeah, there was definitely another great show of the Rapaport, episode 13, man. We, say Ryan Fields, having him on, it was huge. It was definitely a blessing. We all three of us was excited. It was very exciting, to have him on today. As far as with the Lions, like I said, fans pump the brakes. Let's take it a game at a time. Let's take it step by step. Let's get through this training camp. We're just happy that CJ Gardner-Johnson, his leg injury is not as serious. His list is day to day, so just being cautious, being careful with it. Let's take it a step at a time, Lions fans. Let's take it a step at a time. Let's pump the brakes a little bit. So, Pistons fans, same thing. Let's take it a step at a time. Let's go ahead and we got training camp coming up in September. For preseason in October. So, it's going to the regular season. So, that same thing with the Pistons. The Wings, I know some Wings fans out there. Same thing. Tigers fans, listen, I know some of y'all been impatient. I understand. But Tigers fans, we still have opportunity. The Tigers just got to to be more consistent. Just have to be more consistent. They have an opportunity to compete to get in the playoffs, to have to win a division. So, division is bad. We'll see what happens. We got August and September. So, but yeah, and we got Michigan State football, got Michigan football gonna be coming up, so always make sure you stay tuned to that. So, as Noma said, and make sure y'all hit that like and subscribe to our YouTube channel D313XP, and follow us on Facebook. Definitely, we all three of us could drop content of what's going on, give you the latest breaking news of what's going on. So make sure y'all stay tuned to that. So, as we said, as Noma was saying, we'll not have a show this Thursday. But we still gonna probably be around just dropping, some content. So make sure y'all check that out as well. So, as that being said, this is your boy DC1, Nomus J, Bree, D313Rapaport, episode 13. We out of here. We catch y'all in the next video. Take care of yourself, your loved ones, and each other.